You've been lovely. Let me leave you with this. I suppose what I'm trying to say in my show is that I'd like my life to slow down a bit. It's been very fast for the last 5 or 6 years, and it's been amazing, but I'd really like it to slow down a bit. I was very slow as a child. Not like that. I was just a dawdler. I used to take ages to do everything. I'd take ages to eat my breakfast. I'd take ages to put my clothes on. Take ages to walk to school. But my mum was a busy mum. She had stuff to do, but she never said, come on, chop, chop, hurry up, we're going to be late. She didn't say any of those things. Instead of saying those things, she used to do the music from silent films. So I'd be eating my breakfast really slowly, and she'd lean right into my ear and go, diddly-dee, diddly-dee, diddly-dee-dee-dee-dee. Just makes you naturally quicken, I don't know why. I've only once used it as an adult. You're a very smart crowd. And just so you know, it totally works. I've always been quite a late developer. Like, you know when you first find out about the birds and the bees, where babies come from? Give us a cheer if you found out via family. Yay. Via friends. Yay. Still quite a lot of you unaccounted for. Do you just not know? Did anybody find out via a book? Yay. What book was it? Was it The Joy of Sex? Did you flick through it with your mum, did you? I've done that with your dad. I've done that with your dad. There was a fella the other day said he'd found out about sex via a book, and I said, what book was it? And he said, well, I say a book, it was more of a magazine. Some of you might recognise this. This is The Body Book by Claire Rayner. Recognise it? Yeah, excellent. And I've kept it all these years, just to refer back to, really. Like when my boyfriend's trying to make us do something I don't really want to do, I just flick through and go, that hole's not mentioned in here at all. If Claire Rayner doesn't approve, then neither do I. But this book refers to the, vagina. It refers to the vagina as the baby-making hole. It's awful, isn't it? Awful. And I've got a big problem with it being called the baby-making hole, largely because I don't have kids, I don't want kids, I don't really like kids. I'm sure you've got them, and I'm sure they're smashing, but I'm glad you've left them at home where they fucking belong. Somebody I know was recently having to childproof the house, and I totally picked up the wrong end of the stick. I thought it was make so the little buggers can't get in, or if they do get in, they come to harm. So I did a bit of research, and it turns out advice on how to childproof your house is advice on how to do the opposite as well. Example, 3 foot of electrical cable is enough to endanger a toddler's life. That's good to know. It also recommended that you teach your children how to respond to fire, which sounded like a fun game. So I reckon a combination of the following things is enough to keep the little shits out of my house. Forks in front of every socket. Aww. Multicoloured beakers filled with bleach. And bonny sparkly things at the bottom of your pond. Ooh, splash. That's what childproofing means to me. A friend of mine had a baby girl recently, and I wanted to buy a present because it's a nice thing to do, isn't it? But I don't know why you're supposed to buy babies. But a different friend who has adult children, she said, oh, there's only one rule, you buy her something to grow into. That's the rule. So I bought her a bra. But I wasn't just given this book, I was told about sex by my family. And when I say a family, I mean, you know, like your mum. I don't mean like a special uncle. But when I was little, I was quite creative, but incredibly shy. And I used to write poems and stories, and the only way I could perform them aloud was to do so from behind a curtain. Just accept it, it's me childhood. So I'd stand behind a curtain and read my poem aloud, hoping that my family were still in the room. And if I was a good girl, I got a banana. So when I came to finding out about sex, my mum said, "Do you want to go behind the curtain?" And I thought, if she gives us a banana at the end of this, that'll just be really weird. But you know, the next stage of sex advice, the next stage when you find out that it's not just for making babies, you know, that it's also for making money. Getting your own way, that sort of thing. My mum gave me one line of advice and one line only. She said, "Remember, you don't have to put anything in your mouth you don't want to." Then she made me eat broccoli, which felt like double standards. But this book's not just about sex. It has stuff in it about how our bodies change, in particular how our bodies change as we get older. And I'm going to read a little bit to you, if I may. It says, "After many, many years, long after their children are grown up, people who are old get tired all over. Their hearts get tired of beating like a drum. Their muscles get tired of storing up work. Their brains get tired of thinking and feeling. The time has come for the old person to die." And the next line is, "So they do." But what horrifies me is just before that, there's a section all about naps. I love a nap. I've got a horrible feeling that I'm a paragraph above death.
But I feel like the pre-sex routine, the preparation before sex, if you like, it's very different for men as it is for women. For example, the first thing I do is I put my sex glasses on. They're varifocals. So I can see what's going on, what's coming. Maybe I try an activity. A friend of mine told me her and her partner tried a bit of role play where they pretended they'd never met before to make it a bit sexier. We've done a version of that. We sometimes pretend we're people who aren't tired. And he pretends I'm a woman who shaved her legs. I spend proper time on the preparation, or proper time. One of the first things I do is I hack it back. Some of you know what I mean, some of you aren't so sure. If you're not sure what I mean, I'm sure you've seen a nature documentary where somebody has to clear a path with a machete. It's a bit like that. Can't always see what I'm doing down there. There's lots of boobs and bellies in the way. Sometimes I set up a complicated system of mirrors. Most I just do it by feel. And they say childbirth is painful, and I'm sure it is, but it can't be as bad as nipping a lip in your craft scissors. Even now, whenever I trim the fat off bacon, I get flashbacks. I don't trim the fat off bacon. I treat my pre-sex routine like I'm trying to sell a house. Clear away excess foliage, Febreze the soft furnishings, familiar bread smell, yeast. It's different for blokes though, isn't it? In my limited experience, straight men just wash their cocks, that's it. It's just, not even always all of it, sometimes just the end part. Of course, some of them have to wash all the chalk off. And I said to my husband, I said, "Horses do more than you." He said, "What?" I said, "Horses do more than you." It's true, I've got a friend, she's got a horse. Her horse has a special lady who comes out just to wash his knob. I mean, how do you get into that? And by that, I don't mean, how do you get into that? Also, how at the end of your tether as a careers advisor are you before you slam shut your folder and go, "How are you a horse's cocks?" It's done for medical reasons, it's done for health reasons. They do it because they have to clear out what are called smeg beans. quite sure exactly what you think they are. But don't they also sound a little bit like something you could get from IKEA?
I only went in for a nest of tables, came out with a massive bag of smeg beans.
I was trying to explain to my husband what they were, and I sort of nervously Googled it. You know, Google has a habit of finishing the rest of the search for you. And I typed in smeg beans, and Google went, smeg beans grinder. And I was like, how bad are they? That you have to grind them off. And then I realised it's a posh coffee machine, isn't it? Smeg beans grinder. Oh. Also explains why John Lewis had it in 4 different colours.
Thanks for watching. You know what would be great is if you liked and subscribed. I'm so needy, I'm so sorry. And why not come and see me live? And the tickets are available at sarahmillican.co.uk. Put the kettle on and settle in.